What's up, my people? Welcome back again to another section of this HTML tutorial. I'm still Sunday and you're still watching Codeface. Please, if this is your first time coming to our YouTube channel, please kindly subscribe and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any of our updates. Now remember, in our last tutorial we treated the HTML media, and we said that HTML media can use HTML media to add documents, videos, audios, and even YouTube videos in your website. And we saw how you can be able to achieve this in our last tutorial. So please, if you have not watched that particular tutorial, I urge you to go back again and watch it so that you can be able to follow us along in our subsequent videos. So guys, today we are going to be dealing with HTML form. This particular topic is very important, so I'm going to take my time to make this tutorial beginners friendly so that you can be able to understand it better and very well, so that our subsequent video like PHP or CSS, you will not feel confused on the way. So one thing you have to know about HTML form is used to correct user input. The user input is most often sent to the server side of the website for processing. So maybe if you go to a website and you go to the contact page of the website, you will see something like a form whereby you write your name, you write your email, you write your message and send. You see a submit button there. That particular step was written with HTML form. You get? So when you now click on submit, it's going to send to the database. Okay, that's when we start making use of the PHP aspect of it. But for now, we are still dealing with HTML. So we are going to be guiding you guys on how you can set up your form, so that when you get to PHP side, you'll be able to fetch the user input, get the user input, and so on and so on and so forth. So guys, let's continue. Now in form, when you are typing your form, or the syntax for form is just like you have your opening and closing tag for other HTML tags. The same thing with form. It has opening and closing tags. Then inside the opening and closing tag, you can have your form elements. That's what we call form element. This form element consists your inputs, the label, your text area, your submit. So when I mean form element, I mean those elements must be within your form. You can put them within your form, especially if you want to do a form that you actually want to submit. So all these elements and more we are going to be saying, I mentioned here, it must be within the opening and closing tag of the form. So let's go to the business of the day. Now the syntax for this is just for you to write your opening tag of form, then you close it. You also have your closing tag for the form. Then inside this form we have our form elements. Let me comment this. Remember, we have taught to comment. So we have our form element. So inside this form, within this form, that's where you now type your form element, which I've just mentioned here. Now what we are going to be treating now, let's go to the some of the form elements we have. Now the first form element we are going to be seeing is the input element. Now this input element is the most used form element. Again, that's when you enter the someone's website, you'll be able to see where you can be able to type something, and when you submit, the user or the admin is going to actually get what you have submitted. So this is most used form element we have. So an input element can be displayed in many ways depending on the type attributes. Depending on the type attributes. So we have many input type attributes for the input element. Now we are going to be seeing all this in this tutorial. Now you bring out your input element. Remember, your input element is self-closing. It does not have a closing tag. It does not have a closing tag. It's self-closing. So when you type your input element and click enter, the first thing you're going to see is, okay, let me just type this. Let me just type it manually. Then close it. Now this is your input element, but this cannot actually work like this because it doesn't have any type there. You don't have any type, whether it's text, whether it's radio, whether it's checkbox, whether it's submit, whether it's button, and so on and so forth. Now for you to actually add a type, you have to add the type attributes. Remember, we have treated attributes, and I showed you guys where you add your attributes, and I said that you add the attribute within the opening tag. Now inside this place, I'm going to add an attribute which is called type attribute. This type attribute will now communicate with this text, with this input, to know, and the browser to know the actual the input type you actually want to display in the browser. Now we have many types of input types. You can see all these things that is here. All these ones are input type. We have many of them. So on your leisure time, you can walk around all these ones. Anyone within trade here, you can walk around it and see the work of all of them. So the first one we are going to be seeing inside this semicolon, inside this not the semicolon, inside this quotation mark, we are going to be using text. We are going to be seeing text. Now with this now, the browser has already know, okay, you actually want to type a text there. Again, you actually want to type a text there. So let's preview our work with our live server. Okay, before then, let me make this thing to be, make it to be HTML form, so that you understand what we are doing. Okay, HTML form. Now you can see my browser has already brought out my cursor for me to start typing. See, I can type anything I want, and if I've added a submit button, I can be able to submit this particular stuff I have added here to the admin, or anywhere I want to submit it to. Okay, so this is the work of text. So as me want someone to type, a user to type something, you have to use the input element. You have to use the word input element. Then when you use the input element inside the form tag, when you use it, the type should be what? Text, because you actually want them to type something, type a text, you get, inside that place. You get, so that's for the inputs, that's for the type of text inside the input element. You get, so, and I say that this input element is one of the form elements. That's why we are adding it inside our form tag. We're adding it inside our form tag. Now another one we are going to, another thing we are going to be seeing under this input element is, another type we are going to be seeing is radio. Another type we are going to be seeing is radio. Remember, this type was we use text here. Go to come here and let's semicolon. We are going to be using radio. And let me break this in. This thing is going to be in one line, but let me break it. Now you can see we are going to be using radio. Now, okay, I'm going to still give you differences between a radio and a checkbox. Now let me type another radio now. Let me just duplicate this. Because of time, but I would advise you try to type these things by yourself. You get, as a beginner, it's not always advisable to do copy and paste, or to keep duplicating or copying and pasting code. But whenever you copy a code, just make sure you understand the code you are copying. So let me duplicate this. Okay, don't forget, let me break my code. Then here let me type another input. Then this time around the type should be checkbox. Let me show you guys the difference between a checkbox and, let me duplicate it 3 times. Let me just copy this and paste. Let me check. Now you can see this one. You can see how this thing looks, how the checkbox looks. You can see how the radio looks. So now let me show you the difference between this radio and this checkbox is in checkbox you can select multiple items. But in radio, which is this one, you cannot select multiple items. Now this radio is actually used when you want to say when you want a user to select his or her agenda. Because a user cannot be a male and female at the same time. So that you be a male or you be a female. So you cannot be a male and female at the same time. So that's how we can select 2 items there. So that's why you make use of this radio when you want a user to select his or her distinct gender. You make use of this radio. Now checkbox, you can make use of checkbox when you want a user to select multiple items. You can make use of this checkbox, this input checkbox. Remember, input does not mean that the user must type something. If you want a user to type something, you can make use of the type of text. You can see this text now. If you come here, this user can type something. But in this place now, we cannot type and you can only select. But we are still making use of input elements. But the type we are making use of here is radio, and the type here is checkbox. So that the reason when you hear about input, it means that the user must type something. No, you can actually have input that you can select. You can actually have input that you can type. So you can actually have input that you can use and submit your form. So you get all you have to do, you just come to this type and change the type to the one you want to achieve. Now another one we are going to be seeing under the text elements, so the input elements, that's the type, is the submit button. The submit. Another one we are going to be seeing is the submit. And remember, you still have this one. I don't want to show this ones yet. We're still going to see it in this video. So let's treat to submit type first. Now inside this type we have submit. We have a submit. Now without this, now if you go and check this in, you can see this stuff is showing a submit button. It's showing a submit button, meaning that once you click on this place, it's actually going to submit this data. It's actually going to submit this data you have here. Then you can also have another input. Let me just duplicate this and change the type. You can also have another input called button. And let me break this. You can also have another input called button. Now when you are making use of button, you must add a value to the input. You must add a value to the input, because if you use only this one, if you use only this, the user will not know whether this particular button is for submission or this particular button is for another thing. So you must use a value that will display, just like this one is displaying as to submit. The user can actually see, okay, this is for submission. Now in this case, you cannot see any right up there, you cannot see any letter there, so you just have to use your value, which we are still going to see. Sure, you can use your value and say, okay, this is for button. You can say button. This is for button. You can also use capital letter here. You can see this particular button has changed to what? Has changed to button. So a user can say, okay, this is a button, but this is a submit button. Why this is a normal button? Again, not for submission, but this one is for submission, for submitting. So to submit your form, you get, to submit your form. So this is different between these two type of submit and button. Now this what the ones we are going to be seeing for now. We are still going to see more. Okay, another one we are still going to see more as we progress. Now inside this place, okay, another one we are going to be seeing now is the form, the label. Inside the form element is the label element, which I have already commented here. The label element. So this label element helps the user to actually focuses on the input element when you are typing. When the user focuses on the input element, actually it helps to pass a message to the user that okay, this is what is actually supposed to be here. You get. Now take for example, now let me just delete this and come here. Okay, let me come here and start. Let me come here and start label. Label elements. We'll comment this. Now this label elements. Now let's say for example, now this is our the person should put his full name here. I can say label. This is the label. Then inside it has opening and closing tag for label. Then inside this, between the open and closing tag, you write the name of the label you want to use for that input. And I want to give it for this input, this first input here. I want to give it, this is full name. Now this is for full name, which will have this particular input. Then I can still copy this. And put here and say this is for what. Okay, I can say choose your gender. Choose your gender. This will be for this one. Choose your gender. Then this one will have for I'll have for male. Label male. Then this label will be for female. Choose a gender. This one will be for okay. Let me break this and break this. Now let's see how it looks. Are you seeing it? So a user can now know, okay, full name, my full name is supposed to be here. He can type something. He can type the full name. Then when it comes here, the person can select the gender. You get? You can select the gender. Then when it comes here, okay, let me also add for this particular place. Let me also add a label for this particular place. I can say select. I can say label. Select to favorites. Now I can say here should be what. Okay, select to favorite. Then I should come here. If I come here, I should have another label for this particular favorite, so that I can be able to identify that particular favorite. Maybe sports. Then just copy this. So typing again. Paste it here. Now let me use break, because let me break this thing to come down. The heading that is showing select to favorites. I can come here. Suppose can say okay, music. Can say music. Then let me paste another one. See where I'm adding this thing before the input of type checkbox. Then I can come here and say show that thing again, fashion. I'll say fashion. Yeah. Now let's check. Okay, let me break this more. Break this more so that you can give it space. I'm using break so that you can give it. I can space it out from here. Now you can see this user, if a user comes to your website and see this, he will already know that this is where I'm supposed to type my full name. But before, I was not having this. Let's check. You will not know what's supposed to be here. Okay, so a label helps to give more information to the user on what you're supposed to type. You so that's why it's always advisable you make use of a label. Either you make use of a label or you make use of a placeholder. Which I'm still going to show you guys in this video. A placeholder is one of the input attributes we have. We are still going to see it in this video. So you can see the work of a label. A label passes information about a particular input or a particular, you can just use a particular input. So you can able to know what you're supposed to type there. So let me just use for here and break it also. You can even add this one inside a label, inside a HR, inside this one HR. Then choose a this thing. You can say HR here, then HR. I see it. So if you come, you type your full name, then this one should be heading. I can bold this, choose your gender, which you guys know how to do it. You just have to come here and put your words, your B tag, then carry this choose your gender and put between those opening and closing B tag. You can do the same thing here. We have treated this B tag before under HTML text format. You can paste it here. And you can see I have bold this particular stuff. So this is how you bold it. So the user can type the full name and choose a gender and select two favorites. You can select these two and submit. Now when you submit this thing, all these things you have actually inserted here or you have selected here, we go to the admin or go to the database. Admin can now be able to fetch it from the database. So this is how you can be able to use some of these form elements to actually submit your form to the admin. So another one we are going to be seeing in this play, we have seen the submit button. We have seen the okay, let's see the name attribute for input. Now let's see the name attribute for input. And something we call name attribute. You remember when I say attribute, you know that it's supposed to be within that input. Now name attribute is very important. Without the name attribute, your form cannot be sent to the back end or to the server or to the database. Anywhere you're sending a form, it can't be sent to the database without the name attribute, because the name attribute helps to get the data you have actually inputted, the value of the data you have actually inputted in that place. So if the name attribute is omitted, the value of that input will not be sent at all. Please take note of this. If the name attribute is omitted, in the input element, the value of that input field will not be sent at all. Will not be sent either to the user, to the admin, to the database. Anywhere you're sending it, it will not be sent to the database. So name attribute is very important. Even in PHP, that's what you use to fetch the value of what a user has actually inputted. You get. So now let's add our name attribute. Where's our input? And this is our choose. Okay, this is for input. This is input. Remember, you add it inside the input. Then after the type test, you can add another attribute, which is what? Name dash semicolon quotation mark. So inside this place, you can use any name. You see that you use f name, that's first name, or full name, or you can use name alone, or you can use any name. You can use anything to name your name attribute. You can use You can even use your name like this. Sorry, your name like this. Okay, so any name, anyone you want to use to name it, you can actually use. So let me just use F name as full name. Then let me come to this place. I still have inputs, and see here the value should be what? You can say male, and say it male, and say name attribute. I can say female, can say female. Where again. Okay, can say come here and give it another attribute, which is what? Can say, okay, this is area. So this is the name. Then it should be sports. Can use sports. Can say name attributes. Can be music. Now the last one should be what? That's where you have the file. The last one should be fashion. Yeah. So when you now submit this one, when you now select, type, fill all these things, when you now fill all these things and actually submit, you get the admin will get these values you have already selected, because you have added a name attribute to it. You have added name attribute to it. Now we are going to show you guys how this name attribute works in HTML. Okay, we are going to be submitting our data to admin's email. We're going to be doing it with HTML, no PHP. We're going to be doing it so that you can know the importance of this name attribute. So please guys, stay tuned to this channel. Please, if you have not subscribed, please do so to subscribe to this channel and turn on your notification bell, because we'll be bringing you guys more videos like this. With this channel, in this channel, you can be able to become a full stack web developer. We are actually guiding you guys on the steps to become a full stack web developer, so that you can be able to build any kind of website you want to build and integrate or develop any kind of functionality you want to build or develop in that particular website. So let's continue with what we have now. Another one we are going to be seeing, another form element we are going to be seeing is can use text area. Text area is actually used to display when the user want to type many things. Okay, when you go to a website, contact page of a website, you see that the name is, the space for the name is smaller, the email space is also smaller. Then if you go to that place, they say your message, type your message, you can see that box you're going to type your message is bigger. Again, the box is actually bigger. Again, so they use text area to actually do that particular box, so that user can actually type multiple many text. Again, it will contain many text there. So that's for text area. So you can see it has an opening and closing tag. Now it has opening and closing tag. Text area, you can see you can actually manually type it. Text area, close it. You can see then inside the text area we have some attributes. We have column and rows attributes, so which you can actually type it yourself, or you can actually come here lots of time, text area, to bring out all the attributes that the text area works with. Now you can actually start you see this one is bringing out the name attribute. You can say name attribute should be message, so I want to type any message here, it's actually going to drop for admin. Now let's see how this text attribute is going to, you can see, let me bring this in down. I seen it, this box now is more bigger than this box, this input box. I seen it, this is for text area where you can be able to type multiple text there. Now you can see this box is bigger than this box we have, this input box we have here. Now don't forget, you can add your label here. Your label should be here, and inside the label we have your message here, Okay, let me break it because they're going to see me in the same line. Let me break the label from here so it can come down. Okay, your message here. So a user can actually put the name, select the gender, select two favorites, and actually put your message here and submit. So these are some of the form attributes we are going to be seeing in this tutorial. Now, another thing we are going to be seeing under the form is these are the form of the top form elements. You get, not attributes. We are going to be seeing the form attributes now. We're going to be seeing the form attributes now. Remember when we typed our form? Okay, I don't know whether I should. Okay, let me just clear this because we are still going to see these things in this video. Let me just clear this. Let me just clear it. Sorry, I have to clear this now. I have to clear this. I can actually comment it if I want, but because of scrolling up and down, let me just delete it. Now, form. I have form. Okay, let me start from here. Form elements. Okay, HTML form. I'm gonna come here and type form attributes. We have just treated the elements, which we saw the input, we saw the text area, we saw the button, we saw the submit, and so on and so forth. All these things are under the text, under the form element. Now we are going to be seeing the form attribute. The form attributes. Now when I say form attributes, your name should go to what? The opening tag of that form, because that's where you add your words. That's where you add your attributes in any tag. Get? If you want to add attributes, the first place you add the attribute is what? In the opening tag. That's where you add attributes. Now the first attribute we're going to be seeing is the action attribute. Now see where I'm adding these attributes. Inside the opening tag of the form. See where I'm adding it. The action attributes. Again, then inside this action, the work of this action attributes. The action attributes is actually where your form is actually going to be processed. Again, where your form is actually going to be processed. That's for the action attribute. So this action attribute, sometimes if you want your form to perform in the same page, you don't actually need to put any action here. I can leave your action empty. But if you want your form to perform in another page, especially when you are making use of OOP method of programming in PHP, you just have to add your action, and that's in the place, the file you want your form to be performed. That's when you are fetching the user's input. You just have to add the stuff here, the file here. If it's contact.html, if you want it to perform the form, if you want to process the form in contact.html, you just have to add contact.html in the action attributes. But if you want your form to perform in the same page, that's index.html, if you want to fetch it in the same page, then you don't actually need to add anything in this action attribute. So this is what you make use of action attribute to them. So it defines the action to be performed when the form is submitted. So once you submit this form, which action should be performed? Now it's going to process where inside this particular link you have added here. So if you don't have any link, that means this form is going to process in this particular file. So that's for the action. Now another form attribute you are going to be seeing is the method attributes. And this method attribute are of two types. We have posts, we also have gets. Now we are making use of the method attribute specifies the HTTP method to be used when you are submitting your form. So when you want to submit your form, which HTTP method you want to use to submit that particular form. Again, that's the work of this method. So if you want to use post, you can use post. If you want to use get, you can use get. But the difference between post and get is that the form data can be sent as URL using post. Sorry, using get. It can be sent as URL variable using get. But if you are making use of post, that means you want to use HTTP post transaction to post or to send that particular form data to the database. You get. But it's advisable that if you have sensitive information you don't actually want to use that to see, or any other person coming to your website to see, you make use of post, because post will actually send it to the database, while get will actually display it in the URL. We are going to be seeing this now. Take for example, now I want to submit this particular form. Let me bring out my label, and for this label I should have my first name. Now under it I should have my input, right? Yeah, input, and it's text, right? Now I should have my name attribute, because I want to submit the form. I should have my name attribute, which is what I can use first name. Okay, let me use the F name. Don't forget to use, okay, let me use break tag for this one, so that it can. Then inside this one I have a label again, and this label is for what you can use okay. Now I've not taught you guys numbers and everything. Okay, let me use this one as message. Yeah, message. Now I should use my text area for this one. Can you see it? And this is my text area. Okay, yeah. Now let's preview. Okay, let me use horizontal line here. Let me use horizontal line here. I think this is okay. Let me use break tag also here, so that you can space it out. Alright, I think this is better, right? Now assuming I'm missing something, and that should be the submit button. I'll use my input. Under the type I should have submit. Okay, let me break. Okay, I think it's better now. In our form attribute, in our form method, let's make use of get and post this thing now. Let's make use of get to send this data. Now we're making use of get. Now when I put my data here, maybe kind of Sunday, and here should be let me say here should be welcome, and click on submit. Now watch how this particular stuff is going to. Are you seeing it? Check the URL. Are you seeing it? Because we are making use of get, and I say get will display in the URL, and this is where our URL is located. Okay, so this is the index.html we are working on, the form we are working on. Then this is the f name, which is what we use here. Now remember, we didn't add any name here. This name is empty, so we're supposed to add a name here, which is what message. Our message here, our name attribute should be message. Let's refresh again. Let me go back. Let me delete this again. This is our normal file we're working with. Now let's submit something. Code base is here. Now let's submit. Click on submit. Now are you seeing it? Now if you go to this URL, you can read this URL f name, which is what we use to get, which is what we use in our name attribute, f name. So this f name is actually getting the data we have inputted in that place, in that input. Now this one name is actually getting the data we have actually inputted in this text area. Now you can see f name is equals to what can JSON plus JSON get, and message is equals to what can code base is here. Code base is here, and this is showing here because we are making use of get HTTP method. We are making use of what get method, that's get method, to post or to send out this form. But assuming we are making, okay, let's add action now, okay, so that you understand what action means. Now I want this form now to process inside the contact.html. I want it to process inside the contact.html, and let me add contact.html. So this is what I want the form to process in. Let me delete this. I want this form to process inside the contact.html. Now this is index.html. Can you see the URL? Oh, sorry. Okay. Can you see the URL? This is index.html. This is our normal file we are working with, right? And let me fill this form. Make, okay, code face. Now let me fill this form and submit. If I submit now, you will see that this URL will change to contact.html, because that's where the form is actually going to process. You get? So if I click on this thing, it's going to go towards contact.html. You get? Then you now see those things I filled in that place. Are you seeing it? You now understand what an action attribute and a method is. You get? You now understand how it works, how these two works. You get? This is very, very important. These two are very, very important. You get? They are very, very important, because you see them in your PHP as you progress in this tutorial. You will make use of them. You get? Especially in your back end. Now when you are making use of posts, let me make use of post here. Let me make use of posts. This should give us error too. It should give us error. I know. It should give us error. Now, yes, it should give us error 4, because you're not posting anything. We're not using any PHP here to post anything to database. We are still making use of what? We are still making use of what? HTML. So as we are making use of PHP, can I say, okay, post it inside contact.php. You get? You must have that particular file here. If you don't have that particular file, it's going to show you file not found. Get? So you have to change this into PHP. So, but that is when we get to PHP for now. But for now, just know that you can actually use. But if it gets, you can actually use. It will not give error, because actually use the thing is going to process. You will see the data you have already used in your listing, already inserted in the input. You will see it in the URL. So it's not inserting any inside the database. But if you want to insert inside the database, you have to make use of what? Your post method. So this is very, very important. Now you know how you can be able to use your action method, so your action attributes and your method attributes. So that's for it. Now okay, any other attribute we're going to be seeing under this form. Okay, let's use these two for now. I think these two attributes is what we are going to be seeing for now. Maybe as we progress, we can see more form attributes. Remember, all these things inside this form are what? Form elements. Then these ones inside the opening tag of this form, they are called what? Form attributes, so that it will not confuse you. Say attributes, you add attributes within the opening tag. So anything you're adding within the opening tag are called what? They are attributes for that particular tag. Like this one now, this one is attribute for this label. Type is attribute for this input. Name is attribute for this name, for this text area. You get? They are attributes. You get? But when you are doing with form, all these things are what? Form elements, so that it will not confuse you guys. And we also have input element, which we have already treated. So that's for the form attribute. Now I think we have seen some of the form elements which we have already used here. Okay, we have seen many of them. Now another one I want us to see is we can also see select. We have select, we have a field set, we have legend, we have a option. You get? All these things are under forms. You get? They are under forms. So if you are dealing with form, you can make use of all this. I think we have seen the input. We have seen the input, right? Which we are still going to deal more inside the input, when we start talking about the input attributes, we will see more attributes you can actually use in your input in this video. So please watch this video to the end so that you can be able to understand this particular tutorial very well. Now the one we have not seen is the select elements. The select elements. Now inside this select elements, okay, this is my text area. Let's say first name, message. Okay, let me say okay, I can say choose. Okay, let me just use label to can say this is for cars. Can say cars. Can say choose a car. Choose a car. Then inside this place is label break. Then enter. Then inside this, I can have my select tag. Inside this select, open and closing select tag, I can have my options for this car. Don't forget the process. First of all, you can use your label to actually label that particular selection tag you want user to select. Now inside the selection tag, we have options. Because like selecting, if you don't have options, what are you going to select again? So you must add options here, and inside this option we have we can have Volvo. Sorry, I deleted my closing. Okay, we have Volvo. Now remember, in this option you have value. This value is very important. This value is very important because if you didn't add anything inside this value, I want to submit this form, you will not get the value for this particular option. You will not get the value for this particular option. So it's very important. You will not get the value for this particular option. So inside this value, we have to add the same Volvo. I can say Volvo car, anyone. Then let me just duplicate. Please permit me to duplicate this into 3. I can have my highlight this one. Have my Benz car. Also come here to this value and change it to what? To Benz, because this one cannot have the same value with the other one. So you know, if somewhere you select Benz, you'll be seeing Volvo in your database. So you also I can have Audi. Now come here and change this. Now this one I'm adding here, this one on white is what the user will see. Okay, this is what that will be visible to the user to show them what they are actually selecting. Then this one is the one that the database is going to get the data you send to database. So if you don't have any value here and user select this one, then that means that particular place is going to be empty. It's going to be empty. Take notes. Now let me add my name attribute. Remember, you will not just come here and start adding your name attribute here in each of these options. No, you just go to the select tag and add the name attribute. Once you have added the name attribute here, anyone the user selects will be inserted into the database. So let me say these are cars. Okay, these are cars as the name attribute. Now let me check. Okay, I have to go back to my index.html. Yeah. Okay, you can see selection. Okay, this is not looking nice. Let me just break all these things. Okay, this is for our name. This is for our choose car. Okay, choose a car. All right. Then after choose a car, I should be able to break this into 2. Break. Okay, I think this is looking nice now. Remember, you can actually increase this width. You can actually increase it using your CSS, which I'm going to do that in CSS. Okay, I think this is looking nice. Now let's check whether let's use get first. Let's use our get so that we can able to see what we have selected. Get. Remember, if you are sending out sensitive information, you don't make use of get. If you are sending out sensitive, you don't make use of it, so that the user will not see the information here because of hackers. You get. So you make use of post when you want to send sensitive information. So then okay, let's make sure that we have name attributes in each of them, in each of the inputs. Okay, this input has name attributes. Okay, label. Then this selection has name attributes, which is cars. And this name has name attribute, which is what, message. And we have submit. Okay, I think we are good to go. And we are using get. We are using get method. Okay, and we are processing our form in the same page. Okay, I think we are good to go. Now let's load. Now I have to set my Benz, and let's say welcome, and submit. Now check, read our get our URL. I use Kanoji as name. This car is selected is what? Cars equals to, remember this cars is speaking the name attributes. Cars equals to Benz, and message equals to what? This is the message I inputted, because this message I inputted. But there is something you can actually use in that form, which we remove all this kind of all these plus and all other things. So you can actually encrypt that particular form into text, print text. But I'm going to show you guys here. Yes, so just stay tuned to this video. Now you can see that I have actually used select. I can select another one, and can choose to select another one. Which one did I select? Okay, then let me select Volvo. Welcome here, and submit. You can see it has changed to what? To Volvo. Are you seeing it? It has changed to Volvo. So this is how you make use of your select elements. You can see this is how you make use of select element. You add the name attribute in the select tag, inside the opening tag of the select. Again, then now these ones you must add the value of each of them, the value, so that you can be able to get the value of what you actually you're actually selecting. So okay, let's take for example now, let me remove the value for this Benz. Let me remove the value for this Benz and save, and I will select Benz. Let me see what happens. So you see the importance of that particular value there. Let me select another. I will select Benz, right? Benz is one that doesn't have a value. Now are you seeing it? The car is empty. First name is Messi, and car is what? Empty. It's empty. But I selected Benz. Is empty. The message is this one. Are you seeing the importance of that value? So you must add value you must add the value in this value attributes in each of them. In the option, you must add the value attribute in the options. And you must not leave it empty. If it's empty, that means you are submitting empty data into the database. It will go, but you will submit it will go, but it's going to submit empty data into the database. So that's how it works. So I hope this is okay. I hope this is okay. Don't forget that you can allow multiple selection of you can actually allow multiple selection. If you want the user to select multiple okay, let me just put this in back. Yes. If you want user to select multiple options here, you just have to come here and add another attribute called multiple. With this attribute alone, user can select more than one options, just like we have in checkbox. You can see it will automatically bring out a scroll, something like a scroll button here. As we have more, it will be going down. You have a scroll button here. You will have a scroll button here as we have more options here. So I can actually come here and select two options. You just have to hold your control, in your mouse, in your keyboard, and click all of them, or just select only two. Then select this name, select these two, and type your message. Remember, I selected Volvo and Benz. Let me submit. You can see and cars equals to Volvo and cars equals to Benz. I selected the two, and message equals to this one. So with the help of this, we have added here this multiple we have added. You can be able to select multiple options you get in the select elements. Now let me remove it again. we see that this one will go back to normal. You can see it has gone back to normal without any scrolling effect. Now you cannot, even if you hold your control, you cannot select more than one. You cannot select more than one. Even if you hold your control key and select, you cannot select more than one. You must select only one, because we are not adding, we have removed that multiple that we added here. So this is the work of this multiple. That's another attribute you'll be seeing inside this select. Are you with me, guys? So that's for it. Now we have seen the text area. Okay, which other one? We have seen the text area. Okay, we have seen the button. We have seen the button. Okay, I think that's for it. Okay, another one we are going to be seeing is the field sets. Field sets. Now field sets is actually used to group related data in a form. It's actually used to group related data in a form. Then this field set works together with what? The legend tag. It works together with the legend tag. So the legend tag or element defines a caption for the field set element. So let's try it and see how it works. Let me comment this. I have to comment all of them. Okay, I said I'm going to show you guys the short method for commenting. So this is what I actually use here. So you can actually highlight everything that is here, all those things you want to comment. You can actually highlight all of them. Hold your control and click your question mark. Hold your control and click your question mark in your keyboard. Control question mark. It will comment all of them, or you can manually just come here and put your less than dash and come to the closing and come to the ending of the place you want to comment and close the dash greater than. So this is how you comment it manually. Now let's make use of let's check our, let me also comment this as it's up here. Okay, HR, we say we are going to be seeing the field set elements. Field set elements. Now just like we have other elements, we also have field set, which is the opening tag. Field sets, you have open and closing tag. Then inside the field text we have legend. Yet inside this field text we have the legend. The legend is just like, it helps to define a caption for the field text element, and we say that field text is used to group related data in a form. Let's, for example, now you want to bring out your personal information. When you are filling a form, we have personal information, we have contact information, we have a referee. All these things are separate sections in a form. So let's, for example, now personal information will contain your name, your first name, your last name, your phone number. Again, these are the personal information we have. Then maybe referee will contain the referee's name, referee's phone number, referee's address, and the contact information may contain. Okay, contact information will contain your phone number and your address. Then personal information can contain your first name, your last name, your date of birth. Okay, let's for example your date of birth. So these groups, these different sections. So you can use your field set to group all those sections. You get? So field set, that's the work of this field set. Then inside the field set we have our legend, and this legend should be what you can say personal information. Sorry, I made a mistake in this information. Personal information. Let's see how this looks first. Are you seeing it? Are you seeing the work of this thing? So if you have seen this type of stuff in a website, you can actually use HTML to achieve it. Okay, let me just break this so that you can see it very well. Break. so you can see it very well. So as you're adding more information, this thing will be dropping down. As you're adding more information, it will be dropping down. So inside this field set now, that's where I can be able to what? Okay, this is already inside the form. Remember, this field set must be inside the form. It's one of the form elements we have. You get, it must be inside the form. You get, then inside this field, after the legend, I can be able to add my input. I can say, okay, first of all, label to label it as the first name, maybe first name. I can put my inputs. Input should be text. The name should be what? First. I use first. Then let me break it. Okay, let me break it. I can as well break this one too. Okay, let me just copy this, and because of time, let me just copy this, and let me just duplicate this. First name, this one should be last name. Please see how I'm arranging this code. This one should be last also. That you cannot have two name attribute that has the same name. Just like we have this input and this input, we give it one name attribute. No, it's not a good practice. So you have to give it a different name. Okay, I have this one. Okay, let's see how it goes. Now you can see. This is nice. I cannot have. Okay, let me remove this one. Break. It can come up a little bit now. Yes. Now let me use get. Okay, I'm still using get. You can see how this thing has designed this stuff. As we have another section or related data, let me say contact information. Let me copy this because of time. Let me copy this and paste. Remember, as a beginner, it's not actually good to be doing copy and paste, and because of time, let me just copy this and change it to contact information. Let me break this and break it again. Contact information. This one should be what? For phone number. This one should be okay. Find his phone. Okay, this one should be address of the person. Okay, and this one should be what? Address. Now let's check. You can see how this has categorized this particular form input. You get. So if you go to a form, you see this kind of design. So this was done, if we say HTML, this was all with this particular field set and this legend. So I think if you are new in this web development, I think this should be the first time you're hearing it. If you're not new, I think you must have seen this particular stuff. You must have encountered it when you are coding. So guys, please, it's important to practice these things so that you master it. So let's continue. So as you submit this particular data now, let's say we submitted data. Let's fill this form. This is for address. Let's fill this form. This is for address. Now I've already filled everything. Okay, I've already filled everything. Now let's submit. If you go to your area, because I get making use of get, you will see all those inputs you submitted. You will see all of them. Are you seeing it? You will see all of them in your URL. So this work of this field set and your legend. So you make use of this field set and legend. So we said that legend is actually used to add defines a caption, just like a label, a caption or a label, get, for the field set. So this is all for the form elements we have. The form element we have. So another one we are going to be seeing is the input type. Though we have already seen most of them. This is very, very important. The input type, we have already seen most of them. Guys, we have already seen most of them. So let's see the input type. I believe you guys have seen the okay. I'm going to be faster this time around because we have already know how you can be able to see how you can be able to write your inputs. Okay, so with just the type, I will just be changing the type of the input. I will just be changing the type of input type. Now remember, all these things are going to be inside the form. Don't forget, it's inside our form. You can see our closing tag of the form. You can see our opening tag for the form. So all these things are inside our form. So bring out your input. The type should be what? This is text. Yeah, this is text. Now, okay, let me use label. This is for name. Or should I use type text? Let me just be using text for this stuff so I can be able to demarcate it. Okay, break. Let me copy and paste. Then what I will be changing here is just the type and the label. Type, we have seen text before now, right? We have seen text. We have seen checkbox. You just have to come here and check this into checkbox. Okay. Let's duplicate this again. Another one we're going to be seeing is color. We also have color. We also have color. Okay. Sorry. We also have color. Let me duplicate these two again. We have dates. We change this type of the input to what? To date. Type of the input to date. We have email. We have so many of them. We have email. We come to this type. We have type is what? Email. We have phone number. Sorry. We have phone. Can come here and say tell. We have password. We have many. I'm just going to list the most important as in most used one. What is not important? Just the most used ones. And we also have another one that is called okay, I've seen email. Okay, radio type. Radio. We have search. We have reset. We have time. It's plenty. It's too many. Okay. Let me duplicate this. We have time. We have file. How can I forget file? Very, very important, because if you want to upload image to a database, you make use of so it's time. I think we're going to stop in file. We have file. And we have file here. File. I think let's stop here. Yeah. So guys, okay. Things we have checkbox. Okay, I've added checkbox. The other one that is important here. Okay, we also have range. Password. I've added password. Range. That's true. We have range. We have range here. Now some of these things will require extra attribute for it to work very well. You get into like this, something like this range. You have mean and mass. Mean, and you can say mean should be 10. Then the mass should be what? Mass should be 50. You can see. So when you select this one, you're selecting 50. When you select this one, you're selecting 10. Are you seeing it? If you say mass should be 100, mass should be 100. You see, when you select this one, you're selecting 100. When you select this one, you're selecting 0, and this one 50, and so on and so forth. So that's how it works. So some of these things will require extra attributes for it to work. So that's it. So this particular one, okay, let's start from the beginning. We have already seen these things. These things are very easy. This is what you type. It means it's a test. You type something, yeah, and when it's a checkbox, you can select more than one items. You can select more than one items. Then let's see this one. This one is what? The color. This one is the color. You can select any color and submit. This one is the date. This one is what? The email. This one is the email. Now the importance of this adding type, this type of this inputs, the importance of it is that, for example, now you want to type this one. If you want to submit this without adding email, the complete email, you will tell you that please enter a part. Sorry, let me submit again. Please enter a part following at dot Kano 121 at is incomplete. It's showing that this particular email is not complete because you added type here as what? As email. So this browser has already recognized, okay, you must add a complete or valid email for that particular stuff to work. You get? So it's just a form of self-validation. You get? It adds somehow a validation to your code. So it's very, very important to make use of this. Don't forget that I can actually come here and remove all these things. This email, I can actually add text here. But if you add a text here, let's take for example now text. If you add a text here in this email and you type this one without the correct one, it's actually going to submit. It's actually submit without any error. You get? But because we actually want to validate that input, so we have to add email here. So that's it. That's why it's important to add it, so that if you type email without .com, without the complete one, I want to submit to show you. Let's say type this one, that at let's say that this function is going to show you this error, so that the email is not complete, it's not a valid email. So that's it. This one is password. If you are typing password, that means your password is supposed to be closed, not open, not seen by any user. So that's the work of this password we have added here inside the type. So this type password shows it's going to be like this. It's not going to be open to any user, which is normal. That's how it's supposed to be. But when you remove this type password, when you remove it and add text, it's going to be visible. So if you are typing anything here, the user is going to be saying it. So that's it. So that's why when you go to a website and you actually want to see a particular user's password, I'm going to show you guys this in our next tutorial, not here. So you can actually change the type to text and you will see the person's password, though it's going to be a temporary stuff. It's not going to be like permanent something. Okay, it's going to be temporary. Once you refresh your listing, it's going to change back to type password again. So I'm going to be showing you guys later in our next tutorial. So Legio, the same thing which I've already explained for Legio, and this one is for time. The time you actually want to. This one is for the file. You can choose a file. This one is for the range. And after choosing all these things, you can actually submit this, and it will actually go through. So this is for these are the HTML input types. Input types we have. Some of them we still have more. These are some of the most used one, most common one. Again, we still have more of them. So at the usual time, you can actually go through, research more of this input type and practice them. Practice them. Very, very, very important. You get. Now the final one we are going to be seeing in this tutorial, the final topic we are going to be seeing in this tutorial is the input attribute. The input attribute, which is very, very important. Now we have okay, let me remove all these things. Let me comment this. I should comment this. Okay, let me comment this. I said the input word, the input attributes. There are many attributes you can actually use for the input. You get, so this input now, this name, and one of the inputs, one of the attributes is we have read only. You get, read only specify that an input can only be read. You cannot type anything there. So if you want that input to be read only, you don't want users to tamper with that input, you can actually come here and add another attribute, which is called read only. You can see, okay, where is that our test? You can see, okay, that user cannot type anything. You can see, you cannot type anything inside that input again. I'm trying to type something, it's not typing anything. You can see, so that's for the read only. So if you don't want, maybe if you have fetched, you have fetched the user's data. Maybe user has registered in the website and you have fetched it in the user's profile. Maybe you don't want user to tamper with that his email. You don't want user to change his email in his profile. You can actually fetch that email and use read only to actually mute that particular, or make that particular input to be readable only without the user tampering it or changing it for the database. Okay, so that's work of that read only. So we have another one, which is what disabled attributes. It is specified that an input should be disabled. So if you want to disable this particular input, disabled, you can see, are you seeing the difference between disabled and read only? Okay, let me use another input for this. Let me use another input. Let me duplicate this input and use this one for the read only. Now, okay, this one is for read only, this one is for disable. Both of them you cannot type anything. But the difference now between this one, this first one, and this second one is in read only you can actually get the value of that stuff. You can actually get the value of that stuff, and it will not be clickable. You can actually get the value of that stuff. But in this particular one, the value of a disabled input field will not be sent when submitting the form. So if you want to submit this form now, and you have a value here, maybe you have fetched that data from database, and the person wants to change maybe his date of birth and other ones, and he cannot tamper with this particular one, which is what disabled. He cannot tamper it. So when the person updates that database, when you submit the form, this particular value will not be updated inside the database. It will be disabled. It will not be sent when submitting a form, but this one can be sent when submitting a form. So any value that you have added here, or you have fetched from database and you use read only, the value will be added or will be sent when you are submitting the form. But when you are making use of disabled, the value of that input will not be sent when submitting a form. So you can know the difference between the two. The two it's not going to be clickable. The two, you cannot type anything in the two. But this first one, the disabled, the value here will not be sent when submitting a form, and this one, the value will be sent when submitting a form. Maybe you have fetched something from database and you use disabled to make it to disable that input, that value you have fetched from database. Now when you want to update it, the value here will not be sent into the database. But when you have fetched something from the database and you want to update that database, the value that is inside this read only will be sent when submitting a form. So that's it. So that's the difference between these two. So you know where to make use of this particular tool. Now another one we have size. Say size, just like we have our listing. Size should be 200. You can see the size of this stuff has increased. Size of this input has increased. Are you seeing it? The size of this input has increased. That's for the size. You can put it in another place. You can see the size of increase. So let me reduce it to 100. can see the size has increased. So that's for the size. So guys, another one we're going to be seeing as the input attribute, we have the max length. Max length specify the maximum number of characters allowed in an input. Specify the maximum number of characters allowed in an input. Let's take for example now this can use our test. Okay, let me use this test, or let me remove this disabled, and let me put size. Let me just use size 4. Okay, and let me use max length. The same max length should be 4 characters. Where is our okay? 1, 2, 3. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. You get 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the maximum character allowed in this place. Now, if I increase it to 5, if I increase it to 10, and type, you can see it will increase. I can still increase this thing to 200 or 50. You can see once I get to 10, it will stop. That's the maximum this thing I have there. That's the maximum length I have in that particular stuff. Okay guys, we also have min and max attributes. The min and max attribute specify how many numbers, as in the minimum number and maximum number that particular input can carry. And we also have multiple attributes, which I've already seen in our option when we did a selection and option. Okay, so these are and that important thing that we're going to be seeing here is the placeholder. Let's, for example, now you don't want to use this label, but you want users to know that this particular place is for what? Is for first name. So inside this input, you have to add another attribute, which is what? Placeholder. I can say write your first name. Write your first name. So you can see this preview, this placeholder. So once you start clicking to type, it will disappear. Okay, so the work of this, you can actually make use of inputs and label and placeholder. So that once the person start typing, this label will also be communicating to that person, say, okay, remember this is your first name. You're supposed to write your first name here. But with that label and you start typing, you will not know what will actually be here, unless you have to delete everything again and it will appear again. But with the help of inputs and placeholder, you can as well know whether you are typing it. Okay, if you are typing it and you cannot see the placeholder, with this label you can actually know what you are supposed to type in this place. Okay, so that's the work of this label and this placeholder. Placeholder is just, some people will prefer placeholder, while some will prefer both. Some will also prefer one, maybe label or placeholder. So it depends on your choice, on the one you want to actually make use of. So I think we have okay, we also have required. I think we also have required. Required means that you must fill that input before you can submit. You must fill it. Let's take for example now, if I come here, if I come to this input and say required, if I should fill this one, okay, this one is read only. Let me move this one. If I should fill this one, and if I want to submit, this thing will be showing me, please fill out this input. You can see, because I use required in this email. Okay, that email is, I use a type email. Okay, type email, that's the validation for that particular stuff. Okay, I use type email and I also use required. Okay, let me use let me remove this required from email and put it in phone number, required. You can see the work of this required. If I should fill out, okay, if I should not fill out this one, okay, you can see, please fill out this field. Okay, because I've added required, mean that you must fill it out. It's form of security for your code of validation. It acts as a form of validation for your website or for your code. So you can see how important this required is. So in your inputs, all those inputs they want users to fill, they must fill it before they can submit. You can add this required in all of them. You can add all required in all of them so that they can be able to fill them. It acts as a form of validation. You can add required in all of them. Then if you mistakenly want to submit this one, they say I must fill this one. After filling this one and you want to submit, you say you must fill this one. After filling this one, you want to submit, say you must fill this one also. So you must fill all of them that is important before you can be able to submit. So that's the work of that required. Okay, I think we have exhausted the input attributes, some of the input attributes. We still have more, but as we progress we'll be seeing some of them, some more of them, you get. But for now, just know these ones and know how you can be able to apply them in your code. The last one we are going to be seeing is we want to submit this form to the admin's email. Let's say we want to submit maybe one small form, just small form to admin's email. Let me clear everything so that now I want to submit this form, submit to admin's email. Now before then, let me on my data. This works with data because I'm going to be making use of my I don't know that it's my half network here. Okay, let me check whether I have network in this place. Okay, yeah, my network is connected. Now let me just come here. This is my form. Remember, this is opening tag of form, this is closing tag of form. Let me bring out my Rabel. This Rabel is for name, and this one is for what? Full name. I can say full name. I can say inputs. The input should be test. Yes. Then let me break this. Let me break this and copy. I'm just going to fill maybe 3 inputs. This one should be what? Email. And this test type should be what? Type should be email. This one should be color. And type should be what? Color. Now we want to submit this thing to user, so that to admin's email. Now what I will do is I will come to this action and use mail to semicolon and mail to, then I will type the person's email. I'm mailing this thing to, let me mail it to Canvas blog. Okay, let me mail it to codebase@gmail.com. I'm mailing this into codebase@gmail.com. So any input I'm going to submit here is going to appear automatically in my email for me to submit to this person, to this user, codebase@gmail.com. Now we are going to be using post because we don't want to see the data in the URL one. We are going to be using post to submit this because I'm posting it inside this user's email. Okay, so and this place must have name attributes, must, so it's email, so that you can be able to fetch that value you have selected or you have inputted. So it's color. You get? Now let's check. Now this is what we are submitting. Now let me fill it out. Full name. Okay, let me fill it out. And Sunday. Email. What's my email? Email is showing. Let me use this one. Color. Let me use red. You can see the red, the color code for the red. Okay, sorry, I'm missing something. That is submit. Yeah, that is inputs. Type should be what? Submit, not button, please. Because you want to submit, type should be submit. Let's say submit as the name attribute. Now let's test and see. Can this one? Remember, you must make use of data because you are dealing with, you want to send out email. If you click on submit, it's actually going to open my email stuff. You can see this data I have inputted. You can see the data I have inputted, and the email I'm sending to is auto-filled already here because that's the email I said mail to. That's the email that's going to appear here, and this data here is what I actually inputted in those fields. But if you see these things, you will be seeing one kind character that is not you will not even know how it came out. It came out here. You get all this equal to all this percentage, all this kind of character. So you have to come here and add another form attribute, which is what is encrypt. You add your encryption type. You add your encryption type and that form attributes, so you can remove those percentage and all those characters, those kind of characters. So you can use your plain text. You can use encrypt type, ink type. You can use text slash plain. Now let's submit again. And submit. Yeah, are you seeing it now? It's now arranged very well. You can see the name, the email I submitted, the color code, and submit. Okay, because I use name variable inside the submit, that's why it was able to bring out the submit stuff. So you can see the importance of this name attributes. If I remove this name attribute for color, you will see that color will not be there again. Let me feed again, email, and use color. You can see that color will be empty. Color will disappear. You will not see color again because you have not fetched anything. Because that's the work of this name attribute we have added there. If you remove this name attribute, I don't need this name attribute for you because I'm not need to see submit. So that's it. So that is how it works. You can actually submit your data, your form, to this email using what? Mail to. Then you write the name here, mail to, then you write the name of the email you want to submit to. Then you use post, and the ink type, encryption type is text stroke plain. We also have other encryption. They have a multi-part stroke form data. This one is when you want to post inside the database, you now make use of this. If you want to insert into the database, you want to make use of this. But if you want to maybe send to email or something like that, you can actually make use of your text plain. So that's the work of it. But once you are inserting into the database, you make use of multi-parts. So that's for it. So this is how form works. So form is actually used to grab users information, data. Then we also treated the form attributes. These are the form attributes. We also saw the form elements, and these are the form elements. And inside the form element, we have input. We have different types of input types we have seen. So we can walk around these things and practice them. And if you have any question at all, please make use of the comment section. I will be right there to attend to all your questions. And please kindly subscribe to our channel, hit that subscription bell button, and like our videos, share our videos, so that we can be able to do more videos for you guys. So guys, see you guys in our next tutorial, where we'll be treating another interesting topic on HTML, which is what? HTML table. You're going to be seeing how you can be able to build your website, set up your table very well and arrange it very well. We're going to be seeing this in our next tutorial. So please don't miss our next tutorial for anything. Subscribe and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss our next tutorial or any of our subsequent videos. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys later. Bye.